Alright guys, we're back again. This is I think a 2013 Ford Focus 2.0 turbo. This guy needs his turbo replaced. So he got the turbo, got all the gaskets and stuff. So first thing I did was put it up in the air, see what kind of clearance we're working with up in here, and just get a general idea of what it looks like. So there's the turbo right there. That clamp you see is the V-band clamp for the exhaust. That was the first thing I touched because the car was still warm. I was hoping that would come loose, but it snapped. So you're gonna need a new V-band. But next thing, I pulled that boost pipe off. I would assume this goes to the intercooler. So I pulled this off. It's a little hose right here. Both clamps were 7mm for me. And then there's two nuts that hold this charge pipe on, 10mm there. And then I kind of just dropped it down and pulled this hose out of the way. They have like these little retaining clips that are kind of hard to get off these studs, so I left that second one. No need to really pull it off. Next thing I'm gonna do is probably pull that oil drain pipe off. My phone's about to die, but yeah, next thing I'm gonna do is pull that drain pipe off. There's the heat shield. The heat shield is right there under my finger. There's a bolt right there. That's a 7, or I think that was an 8mm, that one. So got to get that off. There is a clamp. See it? There's a clamp right there that you have to get. I believe will also be a 7mm. That is the vacuum intake side of the turbo. I'm gonna put my phone on the charger and get a couple more things off and come back to you. Alright, I pulled that drain pipe off. Those were 8mm down there, and the pipe flexes, so you can just undo the part that connects to the block and leave it connected to the turbo. I came up here. I loosened this hose clamp that I was showing off earlier. That was I believe a 7mm, and that is accessed probably best through the wheel well, but it bolts right here to the turbo. So choose how you want to do that. I went from the bottom through the wheel well, but I have a lift, so a little bit easier. There's a wire connector you see dangling down there. I disconnected that just while I was down there. Some vacuum lines down there we're gonna have to do. I believe there's gonna be 3 total. I just did the one that was easy to see. Now up here I pulled the full intake runner off. Right here are just 2 little clips that you push over to the side, so they're gonna be sitting like this. You just pry them out towards the fender. And then I left all these clamps together. There's 2 vacuum hoses. This one was I believe there's some kind of safety clip. It's already broken, so you guys are gonna have to figure that out on your own. This one is a squeeze style tab, so you can see where the rib sections are. You just want to grab it and squeeze together to create the oval. It'll there's little clips here that will push out and unlock. So once you get those 2 off, then you can unbolt it. This is 8mm. This was finger tight. It looks like roughly a 12 or a 13. And then as long as you have that clamp loosened down here, you should be good to go, and you can pull the whole piece off. So next I'm going to get the top bolt for this heat shield. Should be a 8mm, and then we're gonna start figuring out what hoses and different things we have to disconnect, and then we will start unbolting the exhaust manifold. Alright guys, so once you get that heat shield off, these 2 lines, put it back together. These 2 lines sit together like this. There's a front plate that goes over here, and then there's a bolt that clamps it all together. So So these are both your coolant lines right here. Almost dropped it in the coolant, but you have a spring clamp right here. So then once you get that clamp down there out of the way, you can just push this up. This bolt or this line bolts to the turbo with a banjo bolt. So this bolt is a inverted hex. It's a 10 millimeter. So you're gonna need a I don't know where the socket went, but you're gonna need an inverted hex 10 mil, and then the bolt for this clamp is a Torx bolt. It is a T27, I believe. That's what I used, was a T27. So you're gonna need a T27 for that, and a 10 mil inverted hex socket, an Allen, basically an Allen key, to get those off. And then when you pull that lower, well, depending which one you pull first, you're gonna lose some coolant. I pulled the lower first and then did the top one. I don't think we lost all of the coolant, but you lose a good amount. So next I'm gonna go back down and I'm gonna get this top line here unbolted. It looks most likely like a 17 mil. I'll update that later on. This is gonna be your oil feed line. So we're gonna get that undone, and then we're just gonna check for any last vacuum lines that we need to do. I believe there's gonna be at least one or two more that I need to disconnect. So we're gonna get those disconnected, and then we're gonna attempt to get these manifold studs off. Hopefully they cooperate. Hopefully we don't need the torch. Shouldn't have even said that. Alright guys, we pulled that oil line. It was a 17 mil like I said. And then I got the vacuum lines disconnected. So there's one, this lower one goes to that nipple right there. So I got that out of the way. And then this other line comes down and it actually tees into the turbo. But I left all the lines on the turbo because they're a little difficult to get to. And then I just did this one. Oh boy, gotta move my arm. So that clamp right there, I undid that one, and then you can get it disconnected, and everything else will stay on the turbo. I believe that's it. And then there's the one wire connector you have to get. That's right there. It has a little spring tab that you pry out towards the fender of the car. Disconnect that, and then I believe that's gonna be everything. So that oil line bolts right there. I think we might end up pulling that off just to make this easier. Kind of debating what I want to do. Probably could have left the bolt to the turbo, huh? So that bolt right there is the oil line for the turbo. So I think I'm just gonna pop it off just to make it easier, because it's all kind of tangled up right now. I should have left it bolted in the turbo. I don't know why I did that, but either way we have to pull it off to connect to the new turbo, so it's all good. We're gonna pull that 17 mil off, and then we'll get those exhaust manifold bolts. All right, we got those the exhaust manifold bolts off. Those were 13 mil, actually, not 14. I don't remember if I said that earlier or not. So obviously you gotta get your V-band out of the way, but because it's such a tight fit there, I'm gonna undo these two bolts here, and hopefully that should give the cat some wiggle room, and it should give the turbo some wiggle room to get it out of there. So those are also 13. I'm gonna pop those loose, and hopefully hopefully the turbo comes free. I believe that the turbo has to be pulled from the top side. So I'm gonna get these bolts loose, make sure the exhaust is loose, and then put it down and try again. Alright, surprisingly we were able to wiggle it out. There's also, on top of those two bolts I showed you at the bottom of the cat, if you go a little bit farther down, there's going to be two exhaust hangers that bolt to your subframe right in this area down there. Kind of hard to see, but it'll be two 10 millimeter bolts. You're going to want to take those out, and that'll give you a little bit extra wiggle room. So now you can see your whole turbo areas. I'm trying to zoom out. So your turbo used to sit down in here. You're going to want to replace that gasket you see on these studs here. There's also going to be some sort of a gasket on this pipe that the flashlight's pointing at down there. Should have all those with your parts. You're also going to want to change all the gaskets for the water and oil lines. You're going to have to, I ended up pulling this off while I had the turbo kind of stuck here, just to give me some extra room, just to get this stuff out of my way. But you're going to want to just remember which way this sits to. This plug on top, these lines, well, they got twisted somehow, but these lines sit like this, so don't get that confused. But I got that out of my way, and then you might want to pull, it probably makes sense to pull this this little thing off and get these lines out of your way, because I was kind of fighting right here and with this wire too. But you got to sneak it right in this area here. It seemed like right here was the widest portion. That's where I got it. I finally got it all the way out, but it's definitely a little tough, so don't get discouraged. Just keep wiggling, but be careful, because these vacuum hoses right here are plastic, and I'm sure they'll be very brittle. I'm surprised mine didn't crack, so just be careful. Alright guys, you're just gonna want to compare your new turbo to the one you pulled off. So this one, the guy had in this box, his oil drain tube got all smashed up, so we're just gonna swap that over with the old one. We got new gaskets for that. So where did they go? These are gonna be your coolant washer gaskets. So we pulled the one off, we left it on the bolt, but you're gonna want to use a new one of those. I think he got two of the same one. This is going to be your exhaust manifold gasket. For some reason he got two of those too. It's because it's a double layer. He thought he needed two, but it's actually all in one. This is going to be your gasket for the oil drain. You can see how it sticks out, has these little tabs. So we're going to put a new one on there. Well, we're going to reuse this one and put it on there. It comes with all these vacuum lines and this new solenoid, so that is cool. Don't have to worry about that. It looks, somebody cut these ones off, so I don't know if this is like a used, or I don't know, it's kind of strange. It looks brand new, but it's got vacuum lines so that are cut off. But anyway, so it comes with a new coolant line on this side. No need to swap that over. I was thinking we might have to swap that, but no need. And then yeah, everything else is pretty much there. This whole plastic assembly here is still there, so basically everything's there. We might undo this, we might leave it, haven't decided yet, but I'm just going to swap this over from here, and then I'm going to make sure all my gaskets are removed from the rest of the exhaust, or from the manifold here. Yep, I can feel it. So we're gonna pull that off and then get our new gasket set, and then start trying to position this bad boy in here. It's a little easier said than done, but hopefully it's not too bad. Alright guys, I undid that bent up oil drain tube. I just left the other one off for now because it's make it easier to fish it in there. We'll just bolt it up down there. It's not hard at all. So what I did was I pulled the thing I showed earlier off of these studs. I pulled these vacuum lines all the way up here and out of my way. And what I did was I fed the turbo in right in this area. So this is your best clearance right here. You're just gonna have to get it positioned correctly, but it actually went in a lot easier than it came out. It just had a better angle on it overall, I guess. So you're going to want to put your new gasket on here. Just clean up this aluminum surface a little bit with a Scotch-Brite pad or something. I'm waiting. I need a new V-band, so I am waiting. Excuse me. I'm waiting to go to the dealer and get the new V-band and also the new gasket here, and a couple other things. I think I forgot the copper washers for the oil line, and I think that's it. But this is your gasket for the V-band flange. It's super thin. Personally, I don't even think it really matters. Probably reuse it, but I'm just gonna grab it anyway because he needs a V-band. So what happened here was the stud broke on me. What I could do is reuse the this portion here that slides into here, locks in, and then I could have welded a nut or a bolt right in this area where there's nothing to catch on, and then I could have just put another nut on the end. But that'd be the quick / getaway, and the customer's paying for it, so I'm just gonna get a new V-band. But we'll finish up the rest of this tomorrow, which will be 2 seconds for you. But I'm gonna go grab that stuff and then we'll get it all put back together. Alright guys, we grabbed all the parts from Ford yesterday. 4 copper washers for the oil lines, the exhaust gasket for the turbo to the cat, and then the V-band clamp because our bolt broke. We already got the turbo down in there, so we just have to slip our gasket in there. You're just gonna want to set it on this lip here, make sure it's all the way on there, and then put your V-band on. You can snug that up a little bit. Once I do that, I'm gonna go underneath and I'm gonna get all the different vacuum lines and all the little stuff connected, and then we'll bolt, or first I'll probably bolt up the manifold bolts, nuts, but then we'll go underneath and get everything else situated. But we're pretty much home free from here on out, so it's just gonna be the reverse of the removal. So I'm just gonna end the video here, maybe just show one more clip of it all put back together, but pretty much just do the exact opposite of what you did to remove it, and you will be all set. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys learned something, and I'd appreciate it if you subscribed and liked the video. Thank you.